Well, we've had a complete exchange with William and Mary, so they've seen as much as us as we have of them. It's one of the highest scoring teams last year that they've had there in Coach Laycock's 30-year tenure. So one of the more eye-catching things, and that while their team, because of his expertise on offense, has always been known as a very, very good offensive team, this was by their releases, last year was one of the better they explained it as one of the better defensive teams that they've had. So we can only take by comparison the games against NC State and Richmond, which bookended their season, and clearly we have a very high regard for the Richmond team that we played. That game went into overtime. And then we know the competition that NC State went up against, and that was a very, very challenging game for NC State. So it gives us a pretty good perspective on what the matchup is.
What kind of camp has he had?
Excellent. He's done progressed thoroughly all the way through. His game continues to grow. Will be, we anticipate, one of our leading special teams players. The way that players like Matt Patch Duda, some of those kids have bought into their role on special teams, has really filtered through the entire team. And there's a lot of players that perk up and are real interested in watching those guys during the special teams periods because they really do some outstanding things.
A lot of people have been wondering about the new linebackers, essentially. What have you seen that you like out of those guys, and how comfortable are you going into the season with them?
The two inside players, Darren Childs and Stephen Greer, have been a real pleasure to work with. Both of them have been very purposeful. Darren's really it's fun to watch. He certainly has probably exceeded his expectations, but he's done a really nice job in camp. He's on top of his stuff, his techniques, his diligence to practice, his attention to detail, his techniques have jumped up measurably in terms of just how he's supposed to fit on the play. He's a very reliable player. Stephen has gone about it with and he certainly, we saw evidence of him being a John Copper style type person as well as player during the recruiting process. And he certainly took every advantage of seeing John as a model a year ago, how John went about preparing for practice, made the calls, all those things. So again, this is another one of those. Nothing's been done yet in the game, but all the things have been done in practice of a very positive nature. Denzel and Aaron have background in the system. It's clear that Denzel has profited from playing the majority of 12 games last year. And Cameron Johnson has come on well here during this latter part of camp. So we can see that this game clearly makes sense to him. You know, and it's just a question of getting him continued exposure in that when we put him in outside linebacker last year, which we knew ever since he committed, which is where he was going to end up. But when we officially said, okay, here's where you go for drills, Cameron, that was the first day that he was ever an outside linebacker. So he really started his college career from scratch. And we're really pleased with where that's going. These aren't the only three things that a team needs to be successful, but they are three of the things that every team that's successful has in common. Good quarterback play, good kicker, good defense. If all three of those things are present on a team, that team's going to have a very positive season. If one of the three is missing, it's going to be more challenging, and probably the result won't be as high as what the expertise at the other two indicated. There's a reason why quarterback is on the top of that pyramid, okay, because of the control that it has over the course of the game. So we will do whatever it takes to get that level of performance in any particular game. Play one, play two, play three, play one every other play, just whatever it takes for that position to play well enough. Okay? take the same attitude on it, kind of like a pitcher in baseball. Okay, however many pitchers we got to use to keep the other team's runs down so we can win the game, that's however many we're going to use. The starter can go all the way and win, then he's going to do that. You know, if he needs a little relief, then we're going to do that too. Well, it certainly does provide a challenge for you. The other side of the coin is, if I try to see it the other way, is if one player is so superior that he gets all the snaps, that's a great thing. I mean, would we like to have, you know, Manning or Brady or one of those guys, and Matt Schaub? Sure. By the same token, that means when the circumstance comes up, as we experienced once before, okay, we're getting ready to play whatever season it was that Matt gets hurt on the 9th play or 6th play of the game, and we don't have him the next week. Well, Matt had been the ACC Player of the year before. We didn't need to get anybody else ready. Okay, all of a sudden, Matt gets hurt in the game, and we go play the next game, and we don't have anybody who's competently ready to play. Because we were getting Matt ready for a superior season, and there wasn't that level of competition. So he got all the snaps, which was greatly to his advantage, just wasn't to the advantage of how we were for the second game. Now we have these snaps being shared around. Surely it would be better if one of the players for him had gotten some of those snaps that went to somebody else, but maybe as the season goes on, it wouldn't be as good for the team overall. Those are all what-ifs. We'll just have to see how the reality plays out.
How comfortable are you with the spread, and what kinds of things does it do that, you know, that maybe are new, novel, just, you know, kind of a different way of approaching things?
What we have always been interested in, one, offensively, is making the ball move, okay? And whatever system best fit the players that we had, okay, that's what we've always been interested in. So we're really not a run-oriented operation. We're not a pass-oriented operation. We haven't thought of being a pro style or a open offense. We just want to move the ball the best way we can with the players that we have. So when the ball moves, we're comfortable. When it doesn't, then we're less comfortable. So we're very comfortable with what we do, and hey, we chose it. You know, it's like, well, do I like this suit? Sure, because I bought it.
Mike probably bought it.
You know, no, I picked this one out. And it's the same thing with the offense. You know, I bought it. I picked it out. So I'm very comfortable with it.